Hello there. Today we'll be doing a video on AI rendering and a workflow between Rhino and the comparison to 3ds Max. So I'll begin with some preparation and I'll show you how to bring Rhino geometry into 3ds Max, and then I'll help you make a base for an image for LookX AI Cloud, which is an online website where you can generate architectural renderings. It was created by architects for architects, and it's an online alternative. So finally, I'll show you how to use both of those. So beginning in Rhino, I've picked out an area I would like to generate the rendering from. I could do it in this shaded view. I think it will generate a better result if I do it from a black and white style like this. So to get this into a usable form, we can simply export it by going Capture to File. It's important here to bump up the scale. If you leave it on the scale of 1, the resolution will be too low to generate a nice image, and the AI can misinterpret what the image is. So we'll just set that to 3 or 4. And I'll pop that in a file there on my desktop. Now to get this ready for 3ds Max, pop it back into shaded so it's a little bit lighter on the computer. I'll select our geometry and I'll go Export Selected, and we'll want to select 3ds Studio as our output. I'll call that DMOC example context. This will take a few seconds, and we don't have to worry about these settings here. This is just creating a mesh. More polygons takes more time and it's a higher resolution. For our purposes, this doesn't make too much difference. And we are now ready to take this into 3ds Max. In our example file, we have our captured view, and we'll begin with the LookX AI cloud-based rendering platform. So you can easily create an account, which I already have, and you get 100 credits already when you start. I've already used one because I had a test. And each image only costs 1 credit. So you head down to Start Creations, and image generation is the one most applicable to us. And we get 3 options here. If you have a detailed model, you can obviously import something like that. I think we're somewhere around the conceptual massing. I think it would be better for us to go down the creative route, and we can create a prompt. I've already pre-filled out modern public building city centres. Pre-filled is modern public housing city centres squares. I'd like to keep it modern, but I would like to add some balconies I think there should be vertical gardens and Australian vegetation. What makes this a powerful tool is that by using only these, you can go AI elaborate, and it already generates a better prompt from an AI. So we can just apply that. So we'll upload our base image. And we'll generate a few different ones. The images took about a minute to load. The one I prepared earlier came out with this. And the image that I prepared earlier from the same reference image is here. And this is a much more playful take. And you can see the comparison there from where we started to where we ended up. The benefit of something like this is the quick turnaround time. And we can actually use this image again if we like it as a reference image for further iterations. The three that we've just generated are done. They took about 30 seconds. So we can see here it's done an interesting job of adding the balconies, and it's captured a little of what I'm after. This one here is a little bit better for the fact that it is a little bit more realistic. Something I'm struggling with is the trees in the background, but we can actually remove those later on. And this image here is doing a really great job with the ground. So we can, again, use these as a reference image. We'll use our third one as a reference image for now. So we can just hit that there. And it's already popped up in our prompt. So I'm going to change this a little bit. I'm going to add on remove gum trees in the background and add an urban cityscape. And we'll just do one iteration to see how that goes. Additionally, we can try a different model. This one's a little more simple. So we'll use the same prompt from before and see what we get. We'll generate two images to see what we can get. Personally, I don't think these are strong enough yet, so we'll have to iterate a little more. I think they could be a little bit more playful. So you can reference images, and I've found some online that I like the look of. And the one I've added here is quite colourful and features a lot of the vegetation and sort of balconies that I'm after. So we'll see if that generates what we need. Now that the images have completed, we can look at them. And I would say they're already an improvement. The biggest issue here, however, is the gum trees. This is not necessarily in our context, so we'll try and fix that with a bit better prompt. I've added here that the building is in a suburban landscape and is surrounded by typical Australian houses. Now that those images have completed, we can have a look at them. I would say they're a little bit more successful and they do generate some more ideas. They're a little bit more playful. I took the liberty to experiment with a few others as well. So I changed the prompt to Robin Boyd just to see what it would generate for us. And these images here are probably a little less useful, but with a little bit of tweaking, we can get to these images here. This image is inspired by Robin Boyd as well, and you can clearly see that with some of the glass. But where it begins to get really interesting is in this iteration, where the building shape has changed a little bit and provides a really interesting take on what this building could potentially be. And this is something we'll probably run with to use in our project. Our next question is, how does this compare to 3ds Max? So we'll boot up a new file. And we'll import that geometry from Rhino that we made earlier. To be able to access this, we'll have to change it to all files. And that file is there waiting for us. And we don't have to worry about these settings too much. So we have our file ready, and we'll want to try and recreate that view. With a little manipulation, we're there. So to get TyFlow ready, there's a TyDiffusion button waiting for us when we install TyFlow. I've already set mine up, so you'll have to go through the install prompt, so that's in the setup, and it's just a one-click install. It's really easy to do. The next thing to do is download a model. The one that already comes with the original download is the Juggernaut Reborn model. There is also the Epic Realism XL model. That's a better one. It's featured on GitHub. It has a lot of reviews. A lot of people use it and like it, and it produces better results. So to set up, we can pick a style. There's a bunch of different styles to work off of, but for what we're after, it's obviously architectural. And for the prompt, I think we should use the one from LookX. We liked this image, so I'll copy that one and I'll pop that prompt in there. We'll choose the model, the Epic Realism XL. Just a warning, that's a 6.5 GB download. We can leave the resolution for now at a lower resolution while we're iterating. Typically the steps are at 20. I've bumped up mine to 40 just so the AI will generate a little bit better of an image. And I've put on auto reseed so that every image I generate, it's going to be original in comparison to the other ones that it generates. So quite simply, I can hit generate image. So here we've successfully generated a render of our building. It's the same building using 3ds Max and TyDiffusion. The building is somewhat different to LookX and what it has produced. This one has far more glass, and if you look at it, it's almost interpreted it as a 3-story building. But part of the nature of using AI for these quick renders is that we can iterate through designs quite quickly, and the benefit to us is that we can come up with lots of different ideas to help push our projects forward. And the important thing to understand about AI renders like this, it is simply a tool for us to use to help us push ourselves even further.